All right, family. All right. This is another live here we're doing from TikTok. We just wanted to, and I just put this cute little background like we're talking. I didn't even, we don't really have, and actually before we full on get started here, as y'all have already heard in clear fashion. We'll start off with the open welcome in us. We're getting to that point where we're gonna start dropping the part where we talk about the views. We're gonna start dropping it, I think. So let's try it, see what it sounds like, right? Welcome in us. Who are the different view strong family? We'll see how this works. This is a little test run. Who believe in, who love after, who hunger, seek, and search for that which is a different view. Family, welcome in. Today's topic is going to be on the natural universal laws, family. Specifically, the one of attraction. Now, it's not the only, it's one of 12. This is something that your boy just started looking into. Again, we know and we have heard that we are a Christian family. That your boy is Christian here on this podcast, but we are not the kind of apologetics. I must push this for our Christian brothers and sisters on there. For those who comment, we will not be looking at the comments here again. We want to, leave your comments and all that kind of thing. But this is not to like do a back and forth kind of session. Sometimes those things can go a bit sideways. And welcome y'all who come in and join in and on this this little impromptu episode here of a different view. Thank y'all for rocking with your boy. Again, you can find and share and like this live, right? Share and like the podcast. Again, it's time, family, we start getting the word of truth out there. We hear a whole lot of mess. We hear a whole lot of mess out here. Much of it is filler, I must be honest. I had heard it in a message. Just talking about life, family, and it's real that what you're watching is the system at work. So when you hear things about what's happening with pedophilia, that's the system at work. That's the operation at work. When you see issues with healthcare and education, like out in the great state of Oklahoma, it has dropped to number 50 out of 50 of the states where it comes to education. What a shame, right? But again, that's the system at work. When you can't go to a dentist or a hospital and get proper care, no matter which culture you are, that is the system at work. When you're in the financial district of your life and they play around with which one's getting a loan, which one's not getting a loan for a car, a home, so on and so forth, schooling loans, right? All these kinds of, it's the system at work. We can make the excuses that, everybody's got a fair chance and all of the mess you see, right? And at the end of the day, when you study nature, as we have been told to, again, when you go way back in Genesis, it tells you to dress and keep this planet. That's like some of the first verses once humans hit the planet. Dress and keep the planet. We like to argue with the maker a little. We all do it, right? We like to argue with the maker a little bit too much. Last time we were talking about the effects, the effect in the black family. And while we know that there have been outside sources, more specifically said the so-called white man's involvement, right? We understand that that is not the only group of humans that have had their hand in the problem. When you look at black femicide and realize that there is a whole lot of this where women are dying, we understand, at the hands of different people groups, but our own people. This is studies that you can look at, right? The CDC is studying it. Different people are studying it as we give surveys, as people are bold enough to stand up. That's the other thing. It's time to start talking. There is no reason that the black woman should go through abuse, family. There is no reason any person should go through abuse, right? I think at this point, we've got to get to that conclusion. Or we just suffer the consequences. So this is why I say something like to the effect of, And we don't enjoy it. But this is why I say something to the effect of like, if you don't like what's going on, and we have to band together. In talking with the missus, shout out to you, honey, a couple days ago, the thought came to my mind, which is why I told it to her. Right now, I'll talk to just about anybody who is willing to listen. Right, which is another conversation. We have to be willing to listen. As much as this is, I've gotten notoriety talking, right? We have to be willing to listen. Oh, well, they ain't saying nothing but a bunch of fluff out there, KJ. You can't, so we have, the excuses we have are a mile long, family. It's a mile long, but just like in your life, right? You talk to successful people, you talk to anybody who has ever come up in levels of life, you move the excuses out of the way. And like we in the podcast look to find the beauty in a different view. That's how it works. We have to be willing to listen to each other because we're missing the Bible. Your Bible says, right? I do that a lot, right? Just talking about the black preacher and the black experience, and it's nothing against it. But again, when you got a lot of emotionalism and no teaching, something's missing. Which is why we have fun with it. Every people group is going through different levels of some things. Are there some at the top of the class, like we have said on the podcast? Yes. But everybody is going through some problems, y'all. Right? And the more that we talk, the more that we listen, the more that you find. Which is what part of the law of attraction deals with, right? We had talked about this before, and people who people are attracted to. And then to shock you sometimes, matter of fact, I'd had a conversation with a brother, unfortunate one, right? Like what would cause a person to marry somebody white or have people white around them, to the point where, he doesn't really have anybody white around him. And unfortunately, right? I don't know where this toxicity came into the black community. Can I be blunt? Not tribalism, just toxicity. Where did that come from? Because this is phrased out here that tribalism is toxic. Tribalism isn't. People's actions are. This is the same thing with your government. Capitalism, communism, socialism. We got to say this. It's stuff said already, but repetition is necessary for learning. Marxism, none of these things. These are socioeconomic thoughts, family. You got to get it in your mind and your heart, or you get tripped up on what they're talking to you about out here. None of them as a thought are wrong. Again, capitalism is the boss making money off the business they own. That's not wrong. Any one of us here who has a business, me, you, anybody, we should make profit off of what we own. We're talking natural laws in the earth. I'm not talking about what the colonizer made up. Anything you own, you should profit from. Right? This is the story of the 10 virgins. This is the story of the workers with it. We're talking biblical now, right? Because sometimes it seems like Christians miss it, and we all are prone to missing it, right? What we've got, we need to then give. And when we don't give, we screw the game. That's the way it's been made. Sometimes we have an issue with the way it's been made. We cannot free will out here and do whatever. You can have that gun. Since gun violence is still, on the table of topic, you can still have a gun, but if you use it wrongly, there's something that happens. Or if you use it rightly, there's something that happens. We had posted a video on our A Different View Facebook page. Again, if you wanted to find it, just to join the family, join the community, and add in some positivity into the game, some knowledge into the game. A Different View Looking Forward. That is the name of the Facebook page, which you can find, right? And again, we had posted up a video here. I believe it was in New York, if I'm not mistaken. Young lady getting abducted, family. She's just getting dragged off, and you hearing her screaming and crying and asking for help. Brothers sitting there, right? You know what it's like. Hey, to the towns, the cities out here in the United States, they got trains, right? Heavy train traffic. Shout out one time to you, right? In New York, there's heavy train traffic. Metro is a big thing out there. You ain't gonna move millions of people walking everywhere. But I digress. Maybe if we went to other countries where there's millions of people walking everywhere. But we'll leave that alone, right? We'll leave it alone. We have become creature comforters, family. Sometimes it takes coming away, going up into the mountains, coming out into the country to understand a thing. Then again, we all have to band together as people, as family, right? Because folks are woolly and wild out here. And to be alone is to be vulnerable. That's how divide and conquer works. When you talk on the law of attraction, family, you don't want to be attracting vulnerability. We want to be adding on strength. You know, there's scriptures that allude to the idea of adding and gaining knowledge. You know, to what you have, add on this, and then add on that, and then it's something you can look up, right? At the end of it all, y'all, this is where we have to be. It's growing in grace. Again, we have broke down the word grace, meaning a level of respect. We're not just talking about God's favor. Again, sometimes we get too spooky. This is not to take away from that element, that spiritual element of a thing, because that is something that leads and guides in this life. We're not gonna, I'm not the kind of person to degrade that. However, we got to understand, family, we live in a physical plane as well, right? This is getting into a little bit of a topic, so just, walk with your boy for a minute, right? When you talk on the law of attraction, family, you can't, so like the way I had heard it, right, we're talking love. So you love someone, or when you're talking dating, because this is the classic one that you hear out of the mouth. See, again, out of the mouth, confession is made unto salvation. That's what it's told you. Now, you can do that in the opposite, right? So you can, out of the mouth, have confession to your damnation, okay? So if that be the case, saying that there ain't nobody online to date with, family, if you want somebody in your life, is detrimental, not helpful, right? Same thing for your kids. Now, again, most of the families, unfortunately, and this is what, look, the tree is known by the fruit they bear. So we're not taking a shot at anybody. We're just saying what it is. Okay. When you see kids running wild in these retail stores, when you see folks just yelling at each other like somebody would yell at a dog, do not let the offensive defense drop. If we're going to learn something, you've got to let those things drop, right? When you see parents yelling at their kids like you would yell at your dog, you see there's no control involved. We understand everybody got different scenarios. We're not taking a shot at that, okay? We're not taking a shot at different personalities of humanity. That's not which children have. We're not doing that. But we're just saying where there's a lack of control, that's all. When it comes to attraction, is that the kind of child you want your child around? That's not to mean these aren't good meaning people, because that's another thing you get. Especially with abuse, you get this. Oh, it's a good person. Good people aren't whooping on folks, family. That's hurting people. Here's the difference, yo. And we run. See, but, like we have talked about before, we have a society created of drones, not of individual thinkers, not of free thinkers, and as you've been told in your Bible to be, and as a result, the people are perishing, right? So when it talks about this in Hosea, that the people perish for lack of knowledge, that's not where it ends. It also it tells you that the people perish, excuse me, because they reject knowledge as well. So we can no longer reject knowledge, family, as it comes to us, no matter what the form, and it's in hidden vessels. That this is other we're mixing passages together, family. For those who have an issue, because I've gotten into this with a lot of Christian folk, right? Unfortunately, you're gonna get into a lot of conversations with Christian folks where it may not be the most uplifting. As people in general as well. Understand that context is in the whole of the Bible, right? So yeah, to attract, you can't then detract. You have to attract, right? I guess these laws can also be done in the opposite vein. So when they talk about divine oneness, family, we are connected. We're connected, y'all. Again, because of this social, now when they say social construct, the definition means something that's made up. It wasn't there, and it's made up. We're living in one that is called racism. Literally, as the word says, it's a race. Don't get confused by like segregation, separation. Each one of those terms are either spin-offs or something totally different, right? Again, when you're talking about these white communities being built in Missouri and Arkansas and all this kinds of stuff, those are levels of separation, which is all well and good for them. Just like it's all well and good for the Black, Asian, Latin, Indian, Native communities. Any group of people, right? Some of them are already doing it. Certain island brothers and sisters, certain of our native brothers and sisters, certain of our Asian, certain of our, I mean, you probably could say Haitian, right? But that's island, that's our island brothers and sisters. They just don't mess around, right? That's levels of separation. Now, understanding this is that we live in one whole planet. And thank God, right, it's big enough. I forgot how many square miles it is, right? Habitable land too. Don't do this. We can't live over here. We know. You do anything you set your mind to. Clearly, as these people are doing here in these different towns, right? These white only towns. You know, this also includes, they don't want the Jews there, right? We're just saying what it is. If I could interject this here, and this isn't anti-Semitic, because if what I'm about to say is, then the whole of the Bible is. We talking like the Old Testament. Too many times from the Ten Commandments to the initial conversation of God and man in the Garden of Eden, all the way through Deuteronomy, Judges, Ruth, all the way up to Malachi, okay? When Israel goes sideways, there is something to be said about it, family, in the story. When it comes to God's people, when they go sideways, there's something to be said about it. I'm trying to figure out today in life now why all of a sudden, when we turn our face to the wall and we shout and we yell, and shout out to our Jewish brothers and sisters, right? But at some point, same thing in the Black community. Don't you sit there and tell me we can't be around other people. As they say in the church, devil is a liar. No, what we must be is a return back to loving and respectful people. You look at these nations of Kemet, and all these various different high times of black or the word that's given to our people. Because again, like our Latin brothers and sisters, right? We're called black just because every time the colonizer came around, and they were exploring, aka scouts and spies, explorers, I'm sorry, right? We look at the thing the wrong way, family, right? So every time they were around our people, no matter which one you read, Columbus's stuff, we talked last time about Herbert Howe Bancroft, right? Which we'll get into in one episode. It's episodes that I've done on the podcast, but we'll just bring it to their remembrance. When they go around looking at our people nude, by the way, or half nude, barely any clothes on, they describe, especially when you're talking about the Californian Indians, they describe them as people that were damn near black, y'all. That didn't mean they were black. That meant they were like dark mahogany, ebony. Again, we had talked last time about Kenneth Copeland. Unfortunately, don't know where that deception came from, where you saying the devil is ebony black. I highly doubt that. Right? And it's unfortunate that from the pulpit we take the time to do this kind of stuff. Same thing with Donnie Swaggart at the end of last year, talking about how wrong the black church is for voting for Kamala Harris, family. If you wanted to have a conversation about the government in total, then we could have a conversation about the government in total. Why are we taking the time to downgrade the black woman? No policies mean no policies, whether they're for your detriment or not. So again, to take a shot at Kamala Harris and to not be equally balanced in talking about any candidate, whether it be Donald Trump, George Bush, Ronald Reagan, George Washington, Abraham Lincoln, Taft, McKinley. Who else can we name? We're talking about people who are setting up a society, family, for some groups to be on the bottom. And they're pretty big. They're not the minority, not what you think. Look how many dark-skinned tone people on this planet. From Australia back to the Americas, y'all. It's a lot. How are they the minority, y'all? They're the minority in their mind. And they've been made minor by regulations put on them. But they are not minor. Right? Say it again for those in the back. They are not minor. This is our hijab wearing women. Our Middle Eastern brothers and sisters. That's unfortunate fighting going over there right now, family. No different, though, than tribal fighting. That so-called Europeans keep telling you, hey, you know, you sold your people into slavery. Yeah, we get it. We sold them down the dream that being with y'all would have made it better for us, but it don't. And very few instances it does. Again, we do not put this at the feet of everybody, but too many have a problem, family. You're hearing it and you see it, so you got to call it what it is. Again, in the law of attraction, family, if what you want is someone that loves you, then you have to put out love. You have to put out love, and you also have to be aware to reject when there is no love. It don't come by osmosis. I know we have been taught real well in the church that it's that kind of, no, you got to do something. Most of those miracles where Jesus is healing people, many of them, they had to get up and walk to the water of life. The woman with the issue of blood. Shout out the woman with the issue of blood, man, right? Because, Lord, women's health benefits, man. I tell you what, see, again, yeah, they play in a cold game. But again, family, who have we said is in that slave class? I don't care how many times you look through history. This is where I'm coming from with it. The woman is in that slave class. The woman has been in that slave class since Adam couldn't take responsibility for his wrongs in the Garden of Eden. See, I'm done on the kind of narrative that's been put out here, like they're wrong when we're on a team. So when you win as a team with individual efforts. Don't get it twisted, right? I was watching the original Freaky Friday, getting ready for this new Freakier Friday movie coming out with the missus. And be okay with doing stuff with your family, by the way, right? Boyfriend, wife, husband, sons and daughters. The streets is out here to take away family. Family is what we were given. So then if entropy is the thing, that would be to break it apart. So if that's something that means something to y'all, family, again, talking attraction, you want that family. And you got to get your mindset on family business, which is why you leave these Negroes, to say it bluntly without going too far. Leave these Negroes who are the baby mama making champion out in the street where they are. And go for people. Listen, we can make as many excuses as we want to. That seeds in your... Yep, that seeds in your ball sack, fellas. And no matter how much she's hollering and screaming and you freaking and deaking and we dropping Macho Man elbows, since people still talking about Hulk Hogan, and we dropping Hulk Hogan leg drops in the bedroom and all types of stuff, it's in your pants. You know the point where that thing goes sideways. Let's keep it 100. And you're doing it to them. That's a violent act that you would leave them with kids and bounce. And we know this happens all over in every culture. We're talking about one specifically. Again, we got to become masters, family, of general and specific speech. We're trying to generalize specific speech, and it don't work that way. You have to be able to talk about your own like you do everybody else, because these things are happening both in a group and in a group, right? Divine oneness, family, if you understand the maker, the creator, as is said in other circles and groups, as the fashioner, the grand designer, again, the creator, God that's the word we put on this entity, right? That is personal to us, that has made us clearly, right? We didn't make ourselves, right? We didn't make atoms. We didn't, we're created both independently and codependently, y'all. And this is where we miss it. We got these divisions out here, again, even down to the so-called white man and white woman. No, nobody is just, this, you know what this is like, y'all? This is like, love your enemies, right? Do good to those who despitefully use you. Family, because listen, we're talking energies now that you use. We ain't trying to, this is why we say it, Lord, now I pray it hits the hearts and the minds of people. Do not operate in the energy by which they operated with you. I no longer can say that any other way than the way I'm saying it. Just don't do it. It's dangerous. We was watching Avatar last night, The Way of the Water, man. I don't think it can be said any plainer, right? As this new one's about to drop, I think the end of this year, next year. People come and taking land, family, making fun of your ways and your customs. You have to be careful of those people. Do you assume, though? And there's a lot of poison in the mind on all sides. Just let's keep that 100. We watched Mulan, y'all. Again, I'd heard it said a certain way. Why I reference movies? Same thing with books. The mind is then in those things. I heard it this way. Why does person watch all these horror movies? A brother was asking his dad, or his stepdad, I think. And he watched a lot of horror movies. Why you watch them? Because that's what's in the mind of people. That goes for horror, like that goes for science fiction, like that goes for any one of these, any action adventure. It's good to take in these movies, family. Like we said about the Fantastic Four, the power of that movie was you watched the family at work. Friends and family, because Ben Grimm, who is the thing, is not part of the family, right? We know Sue Storm and Johnny are brothers and sister, right? Reed Richards is brought into the family by marriage, and his friend, Ben Grimm, is brought in from affinity. Family, that's how it works. You watch the end of Moana 2. Oh my God, how powerful a scene that was, man. All these brown, tan skin tone people. Lord, that it be a foundation. This is where we at. This is where we're at. There ain't no division. There ain't no division between the Dominican and the Haitian, and the Puerto Rican and the Cuban, the Honduran, the Mexican. There ain't no division. That's what the mischief maker put there. We can go further, right? Same thing with our European brother. There's a reason why they shot down Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Part of it had to do with the love thing. We all know this. The other part of it had to do with him wanting to go get stuff for his people. That's what love in action looks like, family. And we keep sitting here thinking that we're going to make it on our own. And, you just get it as best as you can. And, when I was a kid, my daddy and blah, blah, blah. Nope. That leads to failure. More than you think it does. The bird willing to kick their birdling, we'll just say it that way, out of the nest, family, right? We keep comparing ourselves a lot to the animal kingdom, and while that is a necessary thing, sometimes there are people, child and adult alike, that need to fly. We need to be there. We had said a long time ago around Father's and Mother's Day, y'all go back and check those episodes, that the parent needs to be the helipad. Family, you know what a helipad is? Right? Some of us do. For those who don't, that's the place where the helicopter lands after it's made its passes, y'all. That's what home is. God help somebody to understand it, man. You know why you fight for this land? It's not even got nothing to do with just the land itself. We don't own and possess nothing. We share it, y'all. Right? Massa got you thinking that we got to own and possess stuff because greed is on the mind. At the end of this, we have to understand and know, and we gonna leave y'all with this, because we're gonna go grab some groceries and then we're gonna go about our day, right? We just talking the truth of a thing. Got to do that every once in a while, right? In closing, family, we are all we got. And when you want to attract something, you've got to, here's another thing. If you want to be heard, you must hear. We must hear each other. One-sided conversation is not a conversation. It's just you making statements, right? Now, we have an open forum as a podcast here, even on this, and we know people probably been leaving comments. I don't really go and look, okay, because it's not as much as it is about the comments, because you want to hear what people's reactions are. You do. But at the same time, we got to take and learn the thing. When they said, if you got nothing nice to say, don't say anything, that's a real thing. Again, you're putting an energy out there. Do not think these things don't come back. See, again, you see this in the Bible where God says, do not be deceived. There's a lot of deception going on out here. God is not mocked. Whatever, we know man is there, right? But whatever a person sows, that they will also reap. Family, where else do we see this in other beliefs of the world? Ain't that karma? Come on now. We gonna sit there and be like, no, see, cause this is, listen, that's what it is, y'all. If another person believes it to be karma, then so be it. I believe it to be the law of sowing and reaping. So be it. And we go on and about our business. You see, like, some of these videos you can go and people going in and debating all they having Bible wars, family. It's like, like Star Wars, but just with Bibles, different colored covered Bibles, just some purple, some red, right? Some black, some brown, we're just switch. Maybe some of them blue, some of them red, because, we understand the blood of Jesus, and I'm not making fun of nothing like that, but this, and we just swinging them away with It's embarrassing. We look silly. We look silly, and the further that you, when you travel the nation and you look around, man, and you come out to the Bible Belt, man, like, y'all look up the states in the Bible Belt, yo. Of course, we know Oklahoma's one of them, right? It's embarrassing, y'all. All right, it's embarrassing. Division, that's what you see. But again, we forgot to mention that last time. What you see is the triple D's effect, right? We like looking at a lot of, like we talk about the butt, right? We like a whole lot of butts, but when the word butt comes into a conversation, we don't like looking at that one. The triple D's in effect, and again, they're nothing against the small-chested or flat-chested woman. Everybody's body is precious in the sight of the Maker. At the end of the day, right? Death, or let me flip it around. Division, destruction, and death. That's what you're seeing, and that's what you see when you look inside. When they say that the church, when Sunday is one of the most segregated days in the United States, they ain't lying. We have to take a hard look at ourselves, man. We do, because we won't grow. You be sitting there running around the church praying for Shekinah glory and all. And then you come up out that thing after your 3-hour run around exercise fest, right? Which, man, if we got the food together right, with as much energy as we burn, we be some skinny black folks. I tell you what. Yo, that's all we need to do is just switch out and start eating some things from this earth. But I digress, right? The song Come Together, right? Sung by the Beatles, I believe, and then Aerosmith, when they made the cover on it years later, family. That's what it's all about, right? Because if we don't, all that's left is division, death, division, destruction, and death. That's all that's left. And that's what we're watching in real time. I put up a thing yesterday on my own Facebook page. The idea of how good and how pleasant it is, family. Psalms 133 is not lying when it says that, right? The writer wasn't wrong. God wasn't wrong. There's a sense, there's an air, there's a peace to it, right? When we dwell together in unity. That don't mean everybody got to be carbon copy. Who told folks this mess? is when we talk on the law of attraction, man. It's no wonder you be married and look at somebody. Now, this is different than, you put no priority on your wife or husband and you just staring at everybody. But we talking about somebody look by, they look good. Damn it, they look good. Yeah. Who is telling people these things? See, again, it's the same kind of thing like with marriage. And again, I know we said we was going to close, but you know your boy, this is what happens, right? If you disagree with a thing, family, you disagree with a thing. Even if you believe it's right and wrong, somebody else don't. Just let it rock. Just go with it. And then you let everything get sorted out on the back end, because everything has a certain energy and a nature to it. If it's so wrong, it's going to come out, family, huh? How did Big Mama tell us? Well, don't come out in the wash, come out in the rinse. So we ain't got to worry about, we ain't, come on, we ain't got, we go a little ham. We ain't go ham with some of this stuff, man. Which is honestly wasted energy, right? Because again, if we on a certain environment, health, and wealth, and all this types of stuff, certain things, we haven't gotten into the month of August yet. Normally I'll break down with each month what the national significance in each month is. It's necessary. They give us the freedom they give us the tools of our freedom, family. That's what happened to our black brothers and sisters, right? We looked around, somebody was talking about this with like the freedmen, the freedman and the slave, and like the freedman is cool because it's like the freedman. Family, when you dark and you brown and you tan skin tone, believe this, right? The policy that they talk about, this is foreign policy, right? But the policy, you can look at this however you want to, but the policy they have with those people is that we on the bottom, no matter where, every time. You on the bottom, they on the top. This could be a communist society. It would be the same thing. The dark brown tan skin tone workers would be on the bottom, and the pale and the white, the light, would be on the. This is how this works. This is the game they're playing with our Hispanic brothers and sisters, man. What's all this non-Hispanic, Hispanic? Come on, y'all, right? We can't see that. In truth, the way this thing is, the way they made it, is white and non-white. That's it. And whoever they choose to be their patsy at the time, y'all. Unfortunately, this doesn't diminish people groups and the power that they bring to the table of life, because you've been given that power. That's not where we're at, right? But we're just saying what it is, y'all. We're just saying what it is. I mean, it's almost like they make us they bred us to have like this fantasy reality of what this is. This ain't it. And this is how we miss certain things. You keep passing over people. You want to see businesses come up and stuff, you go back in time and look at how they used to treat patents back in the day. When we do this whole Black History Month thing and you hear all these inventors and all this stuff, there was one I was going to bring up, black woman back in the day, right? I don't know her name. Maybe next time we'll talk about her name. Had a whole lot of, during her pregnancy, this is where they found different, this one's sick, y'all. We're talking about women's health now. I want to say this is back in the 1800s, right? Side note, they're making a movie about Sarah Rector. We had talked about this before. I want to say it's going to be on Netflix, whatever. Y'all tune into that one and see how they talk about history with that, man. Oh, man. The world's richest colored woman. Young family, right? From the game they were playing on our dear brothers and sisters, native and again, so-called black out in Oklahoma, right? But this other woman that we're talking about here, pregnant, had the baby, started suffering from fissures, I believe is what it is, in both the vaginal and rectal areas. We're not using too much colorful language. We're just saying exactly the scientific terms here. They did some operations on her without giving her anesthesia, y'all. Right? This is a heartbreaking thing for me to find. TikTok wants to do the guidelines thing, so be it. But again, the truth has got to get out there. You got to know what. See, when they talk about an open enemy, family, we're talking in the mind of a person, and that's what history shows. What's in the mind of people. You want to tell me this is in everybody's mind? I don't think so. Call me whatever you want to, right? in order to perfect it for so-called white women, because again, they've been given a term that's not theirs. It's funny, they drop Euro-American. They don't say that. They used to. They don't say Euro-American anymore. Now they're just American. But I digress. It then got to the point where through the pains and the screams, they perfected what it was so that those who had babies as so, you can look, we can look up the person's name. I'll post it. You know, as a matter of fact, I will post it on my, again, y'all come on down, right? Because again, this is about joining up, man. I will post the woman's, I'll post the Wikipedia, the link. I think I already have, but I'll post it again so that people know, man. Women's health is something that's always been in danger. They're the life givers, y'all. You talk about the highest respects. It's the same thing with the military. The military and the police, I don't get on them. Not from the standpoint of the need for defense. We get on these mean boys and girls that are in the military force. There's a difference. These folks that are okay, see, the good ones that are there that serve and truly protect, it's time y'all stand up too. But in doing so, you put a target on your back where you get it. Which is why if it takes a community to raise a child, it takes a community for a community to live. Just the same. Right? That's a good stopping point. That's a good stopping point. So we're going to stop right there, family, right? Thank y'all. This is how we normally end the podcast. Thank y'all for walking this road with me, because it's truly a road. I got inspired by that by watching Agatha All Along and The Witch's Road, y'all. Another group of people that we malalign, which we should not. Same thing that you find in certain black cultures, witch doctors and all that kind of stuff. But I tell you what, them cultures ain't had no problem until the European came calling. You can get on all that spirituality all you want to. And Medicine Man and, you know, WWE make jokes with it with our Samoan brothers and sisters with the Eufaula, I think. I may be mispronouncing that wrong. My apologies. To our Samoan brothers and sisters, again, island brothers and sisters, right? They're on the western coast of the Americas, out in the water there, having a good old time, living life and being free. Same thing with our Jamaican brothers and sisters on the east side, right? East and West Indies, shout out to y'all, man. Huh? Come on now. Life, living life, man, living free, living from oppression. Now that's where we at now, y'all. That's where we at now. And that's anybody who want to come on. Come on down, man. It don't matter the tribes. Looking at that Avatar thing, man, these tribal people that they're sitting there fighting the ones in the forest, fighting with the ones in the water. Y'all both tribes. And the sky people coming for you just the same. Come on now. It's the same thing in Andor. The rebel, which I got the tattoo on my back, y'all. We part of that rebel alliance. But at the end of the day, man, come on. Man, like, the empire means to eradicate you all because you ain't part of the gang. That's all. This supposed gang. It ain't even a gang. They made it up. So again, that's just where we're gonna stop. Your boy can keep on going, man. We can keep on going. I ain't keep on going. So hope y'all enjoyed this little background. Some days we're gonna do that because there ain't no need to be, looking at somebody's face for notoriety. It's the words, man. It's the words. We get caught up on looks too much. And at the end of the day, the looks is a distraction to what is actually there in the heart and the mind of a person that comes out their mouth. All right, so that's what we got for y'all today, family. Again, thank you for walking this road with me. And as always, and until next time, look to find the beauty in a different view.